and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. In a special chat, I'm catching up with Alan Watts, who's President Asia Pacific for hospitality brand Hilton. Alan oversees more than 1,800 hotels across 12 brands currently deployed in the region. Since joining Hilton in January 2018, Alan has led the company to become one of the fastest growing hotel company in Asia Pacific. As travel demand surges and the middle class segment in India rises, Hilton plans to scale its business in the country. How are they doing this and what is their strategy for India market? Listen in to find out. Alan, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you.
Alan, first let's speak about the opportunities that Hilton sees in the India market.
There are a few fundamentals that are happening in this market now that gives it parallels to perhaps the US superhighways in the 1950s. Not only do we have the youngest population on the planet and the fastest growing. GDP growth rates have been phenomenal over the previous years and are set to continue certainly over the next 5, but crucially for travel and tourism, accommodation providers such as Hilton, we're at the other end of the travel cycle, so we need travel infrastructure. And the amazing story for India at the moment is that infrastructure story. I mean, another 100 airports coming to India. The expressways are shortening travel times. Just look at Delhi to Jaipur as an example, or the Delhi to Mumbai expressway that's going to come, let alone fast rail linking the country. And so what we're seeing is this explosion in domestic travel, and that's only set to increase as more and more people join the middle class.
Yes, more people joining the middle class, so the increasing middle class, of course, the growing infrastructure. But specifically to tap into the middle class, recently, in fact, a couple of days ago, you've launched or announced the launch of Spark in the country. So tell us more, 150 hotels, new properties coming up under the Spark.
There is 140 million new middle class travelers over the next 5 years. There's already 400 million today. So what Spark does is it gives an entry-level traveler, it's our most price-sensitive brand, it's our entry-level brand, and access to that famous Hilton hospitality as it does an owner for a smaller format hotel. Again, I link it to the superhighways of the US that saw our Hampton by Hilton brand explode all over the North American market. We feel that level of explosion is ripe for this market. We've partnered with our friends at Embassy Group that are an existing partner with us, and we're committed to bring 150 Spark hotels to southern India. So as you can tell, I'm super excited about that announcement.
What is the other cohort that excites you about the India market that that you're looking to tap into even more?
Well, look, I think about our brands, or our category of brands, as a pyramid. For every one uber luxury hotel, you may have 100 entry-level hotels. And what's fascinating about this market is it's growing at all levels and all categories. We announced our third Conrad this year via Conrad in Jaipur. We announced that the pinnacle of what we do in the luxury space with a Waldorf Astoria coming to Jaipur, and that's a market that, a luxury market that we have always known as huge here in India. It's a super sophisticated market, but as more and more luxury hotels come, it's time for us to unveil the pinnacle of what we do in the luxury space. But equally, for every major metro in India, we feel there's an opportunity for a Hilton. So I would say, although the ratios are different, 150 at the bottom and 1s and 2s at the top, everything from uber luxury to large format hotels in key metros to the volume that comes with entry-level brands have been performing really well for us. It'll be another record year of signings and openings in India. So I would say, look, I have the privilege of looking after all of Asia Pacific, but it doesn't matter where you are in Asia at the moment, India is recognized as the darling of travel and tourism.
And which are some of the key markets that excite you? Any particular regions that you're eyeing to open newer properties?
I would love to see, and don't take this as an announcement because it's not, I would love to see our uber luxury Waldorf Astoria brand in Goa. I would love to see us with more properties here in the NCR. I think more flagship Hiltons in mega cities. I'd like to see us with a lot more presence in Mumbai, more luxury in the leisure space, and entry-level brands everywhere.
Any other unique feature specifically for India that you have localized as this big hotel chain brand for the country?
I think what's really unique about India, and it's not only affecting the domestic India market, also the India outbound market, is India travels 3G, meaning India is one of the very few markets in the world where parents will travel with younger children and grandparents. You know, the Western market, traditionally either travels solo or travels as a nuclear family. They don't travel in a third generation. So what's unique about that for the Indian market is it sort of overtakes other markets in Asia, and as India outbound continues to get growth, is confirmed connected rooms, making sure that we design our hotels that you can close off a corridor and create an apartment style complex, if you will, so a family can be together. And that is not only affecting the design standards for anything we do leisure here, it's starting to affect the design standards for the rest of Asia. As I said up front, I'm an India bull. I'm not only focused on the India domestic market and making sure that we're successful here, but also making sure that when our Indian customers have joined our honours program, they're earning their redemption points, that they're able to redeem them in any country in the world, and knowing that a 3G leisure trip is going to be catered to just as well outside of India as it is inside India.
I like the way in which you put it, India travels 3G. I was wondering, okay, what does that mean? But having said that, Hilton as a brand, since the pandemic, and pandemic changed the travel industry for good, how has brand Hilton evolved over the past couple of years?
What's amazing about our industry, and very unique, is you would think that the pandemic would affect travel and tourism the worst, and it certainly did. I mean, we're at the end of a travel cycle. The pandemic meant nobody could travel. At its worst, we closed 60% of all of our hotels in Asia Pacific, and here we are, just on the other side of the pandemic. Hilton's been named the #1 workplace for the planet, and here in Asia Pacific we've been the #1 hospitality company for 8 years running. That's amazing for anyone in travel and tourism, and for our team so soon after the market was devastated. What's also been amazing is the growth rates. You would think travel and tourism will have been damaged, if you will, as a investment vehicle for owners and returns, but actually people have been switching into the travel class. As commercial real estate in different parts of Asia have struggled in a work from home environment, has seen some offices downsize, as residential property sales in some of the mega markets have struggled as interest rates have gone up, new investors are switching into the hotel space and realizing something that, of course, I and the airlines know. Hotels are one of the few sort of products in the world that can price on a daily and minute basis. So we had hoped for a U-shaped recovery after the pandemic. As far as Hilton's concerned, it has been a V-shaped recovery. And throughout the pandemic, we had record signings and record openings. So people didn't really lose faith in the industry. And so not only did it recover in V-shape, there's all these new investors that are sort of trying to get into the travel and tourism space, because they've realized, in the same math that I did at the front, that the announcements that we've been making here in India about infrastructure, they are huge signals to the market to switch into travel and tourism products.
And then so much of change has also happened in consumer behavior, in their preferences since the pandemic. Like a traveler or a consumer in 2019 is much different to what the consumer is in 2024. The way in which we book properties, the way in which, you know, we prefer or choose a particular place to stay at. So how are you addressing some of these behavioral shifts in, you know, in the way in which consumer is acting?
Yeah, what a fantastic point. I mean, I think for all of us, whether we're early adopters or late adopters, we realize that bespoke hospitality or bespoke booking or bespoke product and services is very much the trend on how to get to you or how to get to me. So the world has moved away from billboards and newspaper ads into an online and digital space. Then the online and digital space has moved into a social media space, and then that social media space has moved into 5-second ads on your YouTube channel. So it's super important for us that we meet our customers in a language where they want to be and an environment where they want to be. So in the case of India, you know, a 5-second YouTube video on a WhatsApp channel is more effective, particularly if it's algorithm driven, so it's triggered by what people are shopping, or the same applies to YouTube in this market. If it's triggered by what people are shopping, is the right way to service our products up to our customers. And then of course, when they've joined the Honours program, they can start to earn and redeem points anywhere in the world, not only for hotels, but for money can't buy experiences like Formula One and concerts all over the world. But hotels are to some extent, they're at the cutting edge of travel and tourism. They're also very traditional because they sell bedrooms and they sell accommodation. But that digital space, that marketing space is moving at breakneck speed.
Yeah, and as a leader, what are some of the trends in the travel industry going forward? You know, we are a couple of weeks shy of 2025. So what are some of the trends that has you excited, that has Hilton excited in the region?
I think the number one trend, and it's been happening for some time, but more than ever, is experience-based travel. If you think of over the pandemic, everybody was doing retail therapy. Dopamine is important for all of us. Yeah. Everybody wants to feel happy. If you're trapped in your home, a nice way to feel happy is to buy things and have it arrive. The world has switched back to where they were heading, and that is experience-based travel. And that means Taylor Swift concert in Singapore was a great example of that. If you look at Formula One, you look at more and more experiences happening. T20 here in India is a great example. People are obsessive about having unique experiences, and it's our role to facilitate that, make it as smooth as possible. So what I'm most excited about is to look at the travel calendar. I only need to look at what's happening with Olympics coming to this part of the world, Commonwealth Games, the Expo in Japan. The Japanese yen is the lowest ever. There'll be more Indians in Japan next year than any time in Japan's history. So I get excited not only on the experience-based travel, but about an interconnected Asia. It's 60% of the world's population, and 2 decades ago, it was all about European long haul into Asia was the business that I had the privilege of leading. Now it's about interconnected Asia. It's Indians everywhere, it's Chinese into Japan, it's Indonesians into Singapore. And as I look at the various different things that punctuate the year to come, I know that we're going to see more of that interconnected Asian traveler fueling what is really a golden age of
It's already
travel.
happening with Coldplay playing in Abu Dhabi and in several cities in India as well, and people are traveling across to hear the band. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us and sharing your insights with us.
Great, thank you.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we are catching up with advertising legend Piyush Pandey.